Yo.
Welcome back to the Miss You, That's All podcast. I'm your co-host, Kayla.
And I'm your co-host, Ashley.
How's it going, bestie?
Just happy to be here, man. Just happy to be here. Glad we survived. Hopefully you survived. Survive the. Because it's just now making it to you. We had a storm hit us last night. And it has now made its way from Oklahoma to... my pen is messed up. I want to quit. I gotta go buy another one. My day's ruined. Okay, sorry. We got hit by a storm, and now it's made its way from Oklahoma to Tennessee. Also, this is my last time recording in Tennessee. I mean, not Tennessee. Shoot, this is my last time recording in Oklahoma.
Woo woo!
What? Ready to get out of here.
My gosh. Yes, the lighting looks a little different today. I have a window, the blind open over here so that I can see if a tornado is headed for me.
That'll be so interesting. Maybe that's what'll help us take off. If, like, you see one and you're like, oh, I gotta go! And you, like, take off and start running, and then I'll keep rolling because I'm here. And then we'll post it, and it'll go viral, and then everybody will want to listen to the podcast. Do it for the podcast, Kayla.
What am I supposed to... We need to plan this out now. What am I supposed to do if the storm comes? Because the situation I have set up for this recording, ma'am, I am hightailing it out of here, and this table that's got all my stuff in front of me is just going to go flying.
That'd be great. That'll be great. The drama. I'm here for it.
And then I'm going to have to run downstairs and crawl in the closet underneath our stairs.
And then I naturally turn into the drama when I get anxious. So I'm like, Kayla!
And I'm never going to be answering you because my phone will be up here connected to the whole situation.
That would be so scary. Like, we're joking, but that would be terrifying.
Yes, it would.
Okay. Oh. How are you, buddy?
I am good. Sorry, I could see a wasp, and I couldn't decide if it was inside my house or outside my house. And I'm like, I'm good. Other than worrying about the weather, of course. It's nice to be off work. I've been working a lot lately.
You have?
Everyone, and I do mean everyone, is sick with either the flu or stomach bug. Everyone's having allergies with all the sniffly stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah, lots going on, but yep. I'm thankful that it's getting closer to summer. Days are getting longer. Weather's getting warmer.
We took the kids to a children's museum a week ago today, last Tuesday, and they were doing field trips all morning, and there was like 4 schools there, and it was like, and I was like, I want to leave. I homeschool for a reason. I don't have to deal with this stuff. Like, I was trying so hard to not just like cut a Yui and go. Like, it was so gross. So gross.
Yeah.
Okay, well, today's episode is things you wish you were taught about becoming an adult. Did I say that right? Is that the title we agreed upon? Yeah. And I want to say a little pro tip that I thought about last night, and it has nothing, it's not like my topics I had to discuss, but I had to go pee in like the middle of the night whenever we were getting like rocked with storms. And I was like, my worst fear, everyone's worst fear, what if I go to the bathroom or go take a shower when the weather's bad and the lights go out? And I was like prepping for my 10-foot journey to the bathroom. Like, how am I going to manage this if the lights go out? Because we were in a hotel. I'm not, familiar with the way. And I was like, I'll just leave the flashlight on. I'll turn my flashlight on and leave it on. Why haven't I ever thought about that? Because, you're always like, well, how am I going to turn my flashlight on if the lights go out? Because I won't be able to see my phone or whatever. Just turn it on and leave it on. It's not going to be on for very long.
It's a smart idea.
And it's a smart idea, but it's so stupid. Like, why didn't I think about that 20 years ago?
Yeah. Like a commonplace thing that we should have just been like, oh, yeah.
Just cut that baby on. It's not going to hurt nothing.
It's a good idea.
Yep, yep, yep.
Honestly, that's an idea that I need to take because the last time we had storms like this, um, praise Jesus, the only thing that happened was our power went out. It was out for a bit and then it came back on and then it went out for a bit and then it came back on. But every time the power went out, I was somewhere around my own home with no phone and no flashlight. And every time I immediately just froze. Why? I have no idea. But I immediately froze, and all you hear is a child sounding voice that's like, Johnny. And he's like, I'm coming. Where are you? Because immediately he's always like, she can't see. She probably has her hands full of something. Yeah. And I literally just stand wherever I am and I'm like, Johnny.
So funny because my brain immediately went to him being like, I've been to war. Like,
Yes.
she's scared of the dark. I'm having to go retrieve her. I have been to war.
So, one of the times, I don't know, I had something in my hand and I was like scared to move because I feel like my hands were full or something. And I was like, I'm going to move and run into something and drop all of this. I don't know what it was though. And then another time I know for certain, I was in the bathroom and that is the one place I will not do the darkness. Like, absolutely not, cannot, will not. And immediately I was like, Johnny! And he's like, I'm coming. He's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm in the bathroom. Literally just standing there.
That's funny.
He's like, okay. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Um, okay. So this one I feel like I could teach myself, and this is probably going to sound really dumb to some people. But it's sewing. I do not know how to sew. I could probably teach myself if I needed to like quickly do something, but I don't know how to do that. And it frustrates me that our parents' generation had like a home ec class, and that was a basic thing that you just knew how to do. And I feel like that's a good skill to have if you get a hole in a shirt, if a button falls off, like, and that's, which I guess that doesn't really have to do with being an adult, but maybe it does because when you're an adult,
like
you're supposed to do
skill.
things by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, because my mom does know how to sew, and so did my grandma, and so I never had to worry about it. And I'm like, that's probably something I should, I wish I knew how to do or should look into learning how to do.
I would like to see like some kind of study on why our parents just quit passing things down. Like, because our grandparents, and before it was, and maybe it's because it got more normal for like women to work and whatnot, but it was like you were taught to cook. You were taught to cook a whole meal with sides and a bread and a dessert every breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you were taught to sew because like you were taught how to be more self-sufficient than we're taught now, I feel. Because
Yes,
like
absolutely.
these again were bed sheets. It's a flat sheet and I sewed it. It's ugly. Like if you look up where you can't see at the top, it's really just like up and down and up and like it's just sewed enough to hold it together because this isn't very strenuous. Now, I will say I have sewed some of Brandon's shirts whenever he tore them because he's like, I go through shirts a lot because of his work. Like, he just goes through them a lot. So sometimes it's just easier to fix it to get it a little bit further so you don't have to buy so many. And it might not hold for very long, but it'll hold for, a few months. And it's just, I don't know if I like tie things properly, but I'll like tie the end of my thread in a knot and then I'll just go up and down. And then when I get ready to tie it off, I tie it off and it's not pretty. There's probably a better way to do it, but there's two pieces of fabric together that aren't going anywhere for a little while. And that's the best I can do. and I taught myself how to do that.
That's nice. I
You
need
could
to
do
learn
it.
how I need to learn how to do it well enough to like hem pants, since that is a common problem that I run into have. So that would be what I would want it for.
I just use hem tape because it takes
There's
like
that.
30
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, there is that. Um yeah, so something maybe that'd be a goal for the year. I'll learn how to sew something.
First, you need to like take a CBD gummy, or you need to chill out a little bit because if Bracelet Gate taught us anything, craftiness is not your first gift. Your
No, it's
patience
not.
aren't, that's not where your patience settle.
Mm-mm.
So
That
you
is where
just need
they are non-existent.
you
Out the
just need to you
window.
just need to chill for a second first.
Out the
Maybe
window.
have, I know you don't drink love, maybe have like a little glass of wine and then try to try to sew some things.
I really think that it's the OCD takes over, like with art projects and stuff. I know.
Mhm.
Like, I'm like if I was trying to paint something or make some, because like once it's messed up, sometimes you can't undo it. And I'm
Yes.
like, and then I just panic and freak out and I get so worked up. And then I'm like, Kayla, this was supposed to be fun and relaxing and enjoy. Like, take a breath.
Yeah.
This is not life and death. It's in fact not. You're not going to kill over
No.
if this isn't, just so. But my
Um,
brain, for just a moment, like goes into hyperdrive and is like, your life is over. This is the ugliest thing ever. And I'm like,
I
I freak
had
out.
I had a lot of trouble whenever I was in design school and I took a drawing class. And because I was like, I am not good at drawing. And I remember we had to draw like wood grain. Had to draw eggs in a bowl. I can't do that. I'm not good at that. But then whenever I finally just kind of learned that mistakes should be blended and not erased, I was able to get a lot further. But it took a lot. That was the only thing that I made a lower grade in, and I think I got like a C in that class. Because that's how, whenever I graduated, I was like, that you can tell this is what I really wanted to do because I did great. Like it was something I enjoyed doing, so put my all in it and I came out on top and it came somewhat easily because I was so interested. Like it's so much easier
Yeah.
to go through that kind of stuff
Oh,
whenever
for
you're
sure.
wanting to do it. But I was like, you can tell
For
I
sure.
didn't want to do that.
It happens.
um so to kind of pivot off that because we just brought that up, but I wish we were taught to like meal plan better. Like because I don't know how to cook like a meat with two sides and like because Aunt Rose cooked like that every day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you had meals, and I genuinely don't know how to do that. Like where do you have the time? Where do you get the knowledge? How do you know that this side is going to taste good with this, protein? I don't that no. That
Yeah.
I know how to cook all those things, like that knowledge is there, but putting it all together, that knowledge is not there.
Also, like, which maybe I'm making it up in my head, but I feel like stuff when I was a kid, like meals that were made and prepared, whatever, it was so much more expansive in the options. Like, they weren't
Yes.
rotating the same five things,
No.
where we are like a staple household. We picked,
Yes.
which we do venture out every so often, but then we come back to the things that we're comfortable with, and that's what we're having. Like,
Yeah.
we eat a lot of beef tips and rice.
Oh,
We
that's
had
my
a lot
favorite.
of taco nights for like a long time.
Pastelaya.
Um, Pastalaya, spaghetti,
Pastelaya is
gumbo.
good. I would have more
Yes.
pastelaya if Brandon liked it. We have a lot of
Yeah.
jambalaya. We have a lot of jambalaya. I make gumbo probably a few times few times every winter. I can get away with that a lot because I don't know how to cook that in a small portion. And so I
Ain't that
have
the
a
truth?
giant pot. And I made it 2 weeks ago. And like Brandon's brother came over and his wife and his helper, and then he took some to work to feed like his whole crew because there's like 10 of them. And I was like, yes, because we had like a thing like this big left over. And I was like, this is what I want all the time because I can do leftovers like the next day for lunch. Next day for dinner is stretching.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I don't see how people like meal plan for a week and eat the same thing over. Like, how do you not? It's
Johnny
gross.
can't do that either. I go through phases, especially when I'm healthy eating, because it's just easy to cook like several chicken breasts, and then I usually
Yes.
like switch up the vegetables. So I'm having
Mm-hmm.
chicken every day, but it's like chicken and broccoli, chicken and potatoes, chicken and
Yeah.
asparagus. Like,
Yes. Yes.
but
Yes.
he can't do that. He's like, I don't want to eat chicken every single day. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if my sister-in-law is still doing it, but she, is a physical therapist and she was doing like bodybuilding, like for herself,
Mm-hmm.
like not like a competition or anything, but like just to be better. And she would go get rotisserie chickens and then make rice and had chicken and rice every day for every meal. And I'm like, how are you doing that?
I was heavy on the chicken and rice for a while, and yeah, now it's like really a challenge to get me to eat that because I'm like, it's just so like, I had it so much, I don't want it anymore.
Well, I think it's really hard because we come from a state that is so heavy on food. Like we know how to make good food. We have good food regularly at our fingers. I mean, we're known for having really good gas station food. Like,
Yes. Yes.
so we're gonna like we have all that stuff at our fingertips all the time. And so it's hard to just let's eat chicken and rice over and over and over and over.
Speaking of which, I would kill for a Crispito right now. I'm just
Oh my
saying.
god. Oh my god. I would yeet one of my kids across this freaking campground for a Crispito. Those things are yummy.
The closest thing we have is we have a Dodge's gas station, and they have them, but that's it. And they're good, but they're still not quite the same as from back home.
I ain't no busy bee. Shout out busy bee. We'll give you a shout out, busy bee. Okay, go. What if we got sponsored by Busy Bee? How funny would that be?
Oh,
People who
Lord.
know are gonna crack up at that.
Okay. Knowing how to, I was going to say do taxes, but I feel like I can just make it expansive. Knowing how to fill out paperwork in general. Like, fill out your college FAFSA, fill out taxes, fill out paperwork at doctor's offices, like paperwork in general. There are 9 million questions and everything. And it's like, you have to
Yeah,
do
and
this.
it's like, what's gonna happen if you get one of those boxes wrong? Federal prison. Immediately federal prison. Like,
Like,
it's,
yes.
it's a serious thing to get that stuff
Yes.
wrong. And
Or
then
like if
at the
you,
end of all that stuff, it's like, is all this information correct to the best of your knowledge? Yep. Sign your name. Literally sign and say, if it ain't right, I'm going to federal prison.
um, because like the FAFSA thing, like that affects whether you get money for school or not. And some
Yes.
people, if they knew more about it, could maybe have filled out something different here or different there, and they could have gotten a grant instead
Mm-hmm.
of just loans or nothing at all. And
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know about other people, but I was like, I need to do my FAFSA. And it was a whole, you have to have your parents' tax information until you're a certain age and all this kind of stuff, which don't even get me started on that because I think that's bullcrap that you have to put your parents' information on there because not, I was blessed, but not everyone is. Like some people, their parents can't afford to send them to school, or their parents aren't actively involved in their life or their education or any of that. Like, not everyone has someone to help them with that kind of stuff. So, like,
Yeah.
if your parents not actively involved in your life or not willing to help you, how do you fill out that stuff? Because you have to put it on there.
Yeah.
Like, because you had to have it until you're 24 or married, I think is what it is, and
I don't remember.
26 or married. Like, it's something ridiculous. And I'm like, 24. Like, at that point, those people, most people, have gone and gotten their own job. Why am I still filing my parents' job, whatever it is? Maybe your parents make six figures and you work at the gas station. Your gas station salary should determine whether or not you get help paying for college, because that would qualify you for a grant opposed to whatever your parent made. Like, because, our parents, probably most people's parents, have careers and, are a lot more stable and things like that. And they're putting in their tax information, and you're 19 years old working at the gas station, like, or a retail store or a restaurant, whatever it is, making minimum wage.
Yeah.
Like, that's not acceptable. Why are we
It's
having to do
also
that?
like, it's so, I don't know another word besides like humiliating or like embarrassing for people to like hound you. Like, what's this parent's information? What's this? I don't know. Like, to have to, like,
Yes.
they should have to be more, I don't know, like tender, not tender, like a, like,
Like,
what's the word I'm looking
sensitive to the
for?
topic.
Yes, more
Yeah.
sensitive to, because it's not, if you don't have that parent's information, to have to tell somebody that is not fun. It's not, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
And to be like, I don't know. And then they look
Yeah.
at you like you're dumb. Like, I'm sorry, it is not odd for a parent to not be in the picture. Why are you looking at me like I'm weird for not? I'm not trying to hide anything, man. Like, I wish I knew. Sorry. But
Yeah.
it's, yeah. My senior year, I took financial math instead of advanced math because I wasn't going for tops. And we learned um, basic tax information, like the difference between like married and filing jointly, married and filing separately, like all of that. And then we learned with like what's a 1099, what's a W-2. Like, we learned all that basic information. And like, like the first page on your taxes that you fill out, that it's just like really just like your net income, your gross income, how many dependents. Like, we learned what all those boxes meant. So, I mean, I guess like if it was just you or like me, like if I just had to do my own taxes, I would probably feel comfortable. But with us having all that we have, no, I would never, ever, 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 never, ever.
So, one, I did not know that was an option. Two, I think it's crappy that if you want to take that class, you would still had to have taken the advanced math somewhere in your tight schedule in high school where you're only allotted so many classes in so many years,
Well, so
because
if
otherwise
you,
you couldn't have had tops.
and what's crappy is it was me and about five other kids in that class, and we were treated like we were less than. Not by
I
the
can believe
teacher,
it.
but like people who knew we were in that class. It was like, oh, okay.
Um, Brief side note for those of our listeners that are unaware of what we're discussing when we say tops, it is the state scholarship that we receive in the state of
Yes.
Louisiana for college scholarship type stuff. It's money we receive from the state, but you have to meet certain qualifications to even qualify
Hmm.
to get it. Anyway,
But
continue.
I didn't even know that that was an option to take that, because remember, I went through all that stuff at the beginning and was about to drop
Yeah.
out, and they were like floundering trying to get me, and they were like, what if you took, because I was like flat out, I'm not going to pass that math. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math. I'm not going to pass it. And they were like, what about financial math? And I was like, I didn't even know that there was a class given called financial math.
I
And I
didn't either.
really, I feel, I don't know. Then my brain's like, it's just part of the system. They don't want you to know that there's another option, because then you don't go try to go for tops, and then you might not try to go to college, which is also low-key scammy because it shouldn't cost that much to get an education, blah, blah, blah. But we're not going to go down that. I just flung my pen.
I figured.
We're not going to go down that path.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I just feel like that's stuff that they should teach us better.
Mm-hmm.
Just filling out different paperwork forms that you have to know how to fill out. Like we were just talking about tax stuff. Like when you go and get a job, you have to fill out your I just completely lost what it's called. But like whether you're a 0 or a 1, like how you're
Oh, yeah.
filing.
Yeah.
And like no one explains that stuff to you. And I don't know about most people, but I'll speak for myself. I'm not a financial whatever, whatever. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a tax person. So when I read those forms as just little me, I'm like, I don't know what this means. Like, and at,
Yes.
18 years old when I had a job, I was like, I don't know what box I put.
Yes.
Someone tell me what to put.
And how they'll be like, okay, well, it's, you say whenever you go get a job, you say that you have dependents and they won't take out as many taxes. Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, I need that money. Oh, but wait, at the end of the year, you got to give us that money.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you not file the way you should and file that, oh, I don't have any dependents. I don't take out all, take it all you want to take out. I don't care. Take it all out. And then at the end of the year, I have, X amount of dependents.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Lord. Yes. And then things get complicated for like state taxes. Cause I know like for us, like we live in Tennessee, but I work in Kentucky, but I get exceptions because of my husband's occupation. And it's just, it gets so complex. And I'm like, it's kind of like what you're talking about. If we could have just had basic stuff to be like, hey, this is what we're doing. Even if they can't throw it in college, you are in high school, you are made to take like a college orientation. I feel like your first semester, that little 1 hour class should be college orientation, time management, scheduling, advising, all these things. But then maybe second semester or even more of that class if they made it long enough, because I don't even remember what I did in my college orientation. They could be like, here's some basic information now that you're a grown up. You're a grown adult
Yes.
responsible for yourself.
Life skills.
Here's some extra stuff just in case you had no idea. If you know, cool. Just like some people don't need to be taught time management, but we all had to take student orientation. So we had to hear about it for the people that aren't good with time management. So it's just one of those things. Like that could have been beneficial for everybody.
Yes. No, you shouldn't go off out into the world without knowing how to sew a button, know how to use a credit card, know what a dependent is, know how to change a tire. Like there's just basic things that if you are booted out into the world on your own, because like me and Brandon got married when we were 19 and I had just turned 21. Like we left and went to Pennsylvania from Louisiana. We had to learn a lot of stuff how to do on our own very quickly. And I mean, we messed some stuff up. We learned some lessons, and I mean, it would have taken. But at the end of the day, I get frustrated because it's like, if you know how much I made, and you know how much Brandon made, and you already have all this information. You know how much taxes I owe. You know how much taxes you owe me.
Yeah.
Why do we even have to do this? Cut me a check and send it in the mail, or send me a bill.
Yeah.
Because they already know. Like, that's so stupid. They make us do it, and then again, if any of this is wrong, have fun in federal prison for tax evasion. And then there's those goofy people that you meet that they're like, I've never filed taxes before. And I'm like, I would go to jail. But yeah, you should, honestly, basic finance. You should know how to take care of your own finances.
Yes.
You
Yes.
should just be told life's a scam from the
Well,
very
and
beginning.
like, speaking of finances, you should learn about, like you said, credit cards, how interest works, how compound interest works, getting a loan, credit in general, the fact that you need credit, the fact that you need credit to do everything in your life, buy a
Yeah.
car, buy a house, all these things, but you don't have any just on your own. No one wants to give any because you don't have any. So how do you ever get any?
I mean,
Like,
and what's sad is we did learn all that in financial math. We learned credit cards. We learned how to, like, and our math teacher would print out fake checks, fake, like, W-2 forms, fake, like, if you were trying to buy a car, like, I'm not even doing that. I'm not thumbs upping. Anyway, uh, she would fill all that, and we would just have days where we would just practice filling out those papers, and that was our grade. And it was so easy, but like we learned how to do it, like it wasn't hard. And that's what's sad is it's not hard. You just have to be taught how to do it properly, and it takes no time,
yeah.
and then you know.
Yeah.
And she explained a credit card. If you have this interest rate and you put this much on your credit card, this is how much you're going to have. Like she explained all that stuff, and it's stuff that we needed to know,
Yeah.
and now we do.
Um Maybe I just took the wrong math then in high school, but
But
it's just one of
why?
those I feel
I
like that
used
should have
all
been
that
common
more.
knowledge.
I use that more probably than you use freaking advanced math.
Oh, 100%.
Like, and that's what's sad. Why aren't we learning basic survival stuff? Or not survival, but like basic knowledge. Why aren't we learning all of that? How to adult properly
Yes.
instead of advanced math?
Yes.
Okay.
And the same with like, because I feel like home ec is always considered more like feminine because it was obviously for the home. But I feel like there should have also been more stuff with like how to change a tire, how to change your
Mm-hmm.
oil, different things on a car, different, lights and what they mean, and just all those types of things because you don't know if you don't know. Like,
Right.
I mean, I am literally 27 years old, almost 28, and which I'm about to potentially expose myself, but I don't care if I look dumb because I genuinely did not know. It was a few months ago now, and my car did something weird, and I was like talking to Johnny about it, and I'm like, I just don't know what it is. And he was like, well, it could be the transmission fluid. And I was like, okay. Like, I've heard of that. And then I don't remember how it came up, but at some point he said something about maybe it needed to be changed or whatever. And I was like, okay, I've never done that. And he was like, okay, then I don't know that we can. Like, what do you mean? He's like, well, because your car has so many miles, you are supposed to do it every so often. And if you haven't done it, then draining the whole thing, it leaves like crud and whatnot. It can mess up your engine more. So you can't do it after a certain point if you haven't done it. And I was like, how am I supposed to know that? There's not a light for that, like with your oil. No one said every 20,000 miles change your transmission fluid, which it's not. It's like 60 to 80,000 miles. But I had zero idea, and my car has over 200,000 miles on it. And guess what? They can't do it now. Like,
That that is one thing that I am very, very thankful that, because it sucks. And okay, Brandon will pump my gas. Brandon will change a flat tire if I get a flat tire on my car. He will come to me if he's close and I get a flat tire on my car. But we had barely been married, and he came home from work, and he's like, I need to rotate my tires. Come outside. You're going to help me. And I was like, moi? Excuse me? I am but a lady. What do you think you're doing? And it was so funny because, like, I went outside and he was like, no, you need to know how to. These keep slipping off my head. He was like, no, you need to know how to change a tire. And that's essentially what you're doing when we're rotating tires. So you're going to do it. You're going to help me, and it's going to teach you. And I'm going to get done faster. And I was like, okay. Sadly, all those things make sense. And so it was really funny, though, because we were doing it, and I was kind of struggling because I had never done it before. And this freaking army platoon rolls into our hotel, and all of these dudes are getting out of all of these big army trucks, and they're like, hey man, would you like some help so she doesn't have to help you? And he's like, nope, we're fine. And I'm like, they probably think you're the biggest jerk in the world. Because all of those people were getting out of those trucks, and they were like, okay. Like, they just kept eyeballing us like, this dude is really making her do this. But I mean, again, I didn't have a dad, so he'll do it for me, but he has made sure that I know how to take care of myself.
Oh, yeah.
So if I ever, because I mean, I travel a lot. I go home and see our family a lot alone. He goes off to short jobs by himself and will leave me in a random state, for just a short amount of time. Anything can happen. And he's like, you're
Yeah.
going to know how to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So I'm grateful that he will do it for me, but he's also made sure that I can do things myself.
Oh yeah, I can change a tire. I don't know how to change my oil, but I can change a tire.
Yeah, he made me do that one time too, and it wasn't fun.
Oh, I've watched Johnny do his. I've just never done mine. But he's like, I can teach you how. I'm like, okay. I'm fine with it because again, something like you said, it's nice to know how to do. But yeah, like the transmission fluid thing, I was like, I did not know this. And then
Go ahead.
I don't know what it was, but I genuinely asked my dad. I was like, how was I supposed to know? And he was like, because you drive a car. And I was like, there's not a big sign on the car that says. And I don't leisurely read my manual to my vehicle.
Yeah. Well, that's I didn't realize that in an owner's manual there's step-by-step instructions on how to change a tire. It's right there.
I learned that in driver's ed.
You don't
no,
look at
I
those.
don't. But I learned that in driver's ed.
It makes me insane this day and age when somebody's like, I can't do that. I don't know how. You have manuals. You have YouTube. You have friggin' TikTok this day and age. You can do anything. Like, that, I get so frustrated. Like, we have vast amounts of knowledge literally at our fingertips. In very different amount. I mean, right now I have my laptop, I have my phone, I have a smart TV, I have an iPad. I have so many different ways on figuring out how to do anything.
Yes.
Stop using the excuse that you don't know how to do things to keep you from doing things, because you can figure it out if you really want to.
Yeah. Or if you were in a bind and needed to.
Yes.
You could help yourself.
Yes. Help yourself. Ugh. Don't get me started on that. We could do a whole freaking episode of helping yourself. But, okay. So, we're gonna take a little, that was a hard turn for those of you who can't see me. It's
Skirt.
okay. Skirt. Like a skirt, or like the sound skirt?
It was too good to let it pass by. Sorry.
See? Okay. It is okay to say no.
Yes.
The amount of times I've had to beat out of my brain that I don't have to people please is insane. If you don't want to do something and it's genuinely gonna disrupt your household, make you unhappy, make other people in your house unhappy, you don't gotta do it. You can say no.
Even if you agree and you change your mind later because the day came and you're like, I'm just really tired. I just can't today. I'm tired. You do not have to do everything. You can say no.
You can. And there's ways to do that. We had this conversation the other day. I mean, it's not nice to, tell people last minute. It's not nice to not tell them at all. It's not nice to regularly be flaky. Don't constantly agree to things and then at the last minute be
Back
like,
out.
never mind. But yes, you don't have to. And most of the time, I don't think you've ever said you don't want to do something that I mean, obviously I can't remember it if it happened. You haven't ever went back on something and maybe like, I can't believe she canceled
Yeah.
those plans. Like, I don't, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. And I still have problems with that. I mean, you and I have talked the other day that I feel like if I don't show up, people are going to jump off the roof out of, you know, madness at me. No, I'm not that important. It's not that big of a deal. You can say no to people. You can say no to plans. You can say no to, you know, I said no to freaking sending my kids to public school. Like, I didn't have to do that. I went a different direction. And it made a lot of people mad. Why? I don't know. They're not paying for it. They're not doing it. It doesn't affect them at all.
Yes.
But it was definitely one of those things that I had to answer questions about for some reason because a lot of people felt like that they were affected by it. And it was so stupid, and I still do it. But and that was one of the things that I told Brandon. I was like, I don't know if I want to just deal with the backlash. And that's so stupid. You shouldn't have, unless it's freaking harming you as a human being, you shouldn't really get backlash about stuff that doesn't affect other people.
Um, Something I think that goes along with that is that you are not responsible for other people's feelings.
No.
Like you said, people, like, if I was to cancel plans and you were like, oh, I can't believe she did that, and then you're like, Kayla, I can't believe you canceled. Like, I was so excited. Like, you really upset me. Like, it's okay to express those feelings, but I don't personally have to take that on that you are upset and feel bad because of something I did to help myself. Like,
Yes.
I'm not responsible that that was how you're feeling about the situation. Like, you're not
Again, and
responsible for how people feel.
and that doesn't mean you just get to be a jerk or an a-hole. You should still be sensitive to people's feelings to an extent. Even more sensitive to people that you're close with, you know, because you got to deal with them all the time. And you know
Yes.
you know their struggles in their own life. And you should always keep that in mind. But, I mean, like, I wouldn't come to you when, because, you know, I'm not a huge dog person. I wouldn't come to you and be like, God, I just hate dogs. If they all fell off the earth, I wouldn't care. Like, I shouldn't, I don't, I don't dislike dogs that much. But, like, why would I say that to you? You have a million. My oldest kid made the comment the other day whenever we were talking about you guys maybe coming to visit, and he was like, if they get one more dog, I don't know if I can handle six. He's like, I could handle the five of them. If they get a sixth, I don't know if I can handle all of that. And I was like, she's not going to ask you to dog sit. Why are you so concerned? Like,
Your
he was
oldest
just
child is very
so stressed.
educated. I do not have 5 dogs. But
He was
close enough.
He was so concerned.
It's probably a lot for his little mind, considering that some of them are half his size.
That poor kid was just like, there's a lot of them, okay? That's all he was concerned with, was there was a lot.
Sorry,
But,
Betty.
I'm gonna...
That's one of those things that from therapy, like I just said, don't take it personally. That is not something that if you were like, I just hate dogs. So honestly, it would just be awkward for me in that moment because I'd be like, this is a weird conversation to try to have with me.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you should be sensitive to who you're talking to, because why would I talk like that to you? And how are you gonna validate me at all?
Yeah.
Not that you have to, but like, why? What am I searching for in that conversation?
Yes. What is your expectation? Because the bar should be really low.
But I'm gonna pivot off that. I know it's your go, but since
No,
we're
you're
already
good.
there,
You're good.
because I had written down, you don't have to go along with societal norms.
Yes.
You know, you and I have both made decisions in our life that were not normal. I mean, me and Brandon taken off so young. We got married and skedaddled out of there quickly. Not normal.
Mm-hmm.
We still get a lot of backlash and questions about the way we live our life. And if you want to take off and move to Ireland or move to Australia and buy a freaking goat farm and live your life like that, that is your business. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, why do you let what other people think and what they're going to say to you? Like, it's sad that people talk so poorly to you that you would keep them saying things to you from doing what makes you happy.
Yes. Don't let other people determine your value, your worth, your opinion of yourself, like
Mm-hmm.
all those things, because it's just not important. You
No.
really, really realize that the more years you're being an adult on your own, however you want to look at it, that you really can do whatever you want to do as long as you're not harming yourself and you're not harming anybody else. People should just mind their own. And
And then it comes to like, what if you based every move you make off of John? That was a poor example because that's your husband's name. What would you base it off of George? What if George dies tomorrow? What are you going to do for the next 40 years of your life?
yes.
Like, you worry about Kayla and what makes Kayla and Johnny happy. Sometimes Johnny doesn't even matter. It's just about Kayla. Worry about making you
Somewhat it is, but yeah.
worry about making you and yours happy.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. As long as you're not taking money from other people and they're funding all of your life, or, you know, like, you're not affecting anybody else. What does it matter?
Yes.
That's okay. And you're going to be a lot more happy. Even if you have to have those tough conversations, you're going to be a lot more happy if you just do what you want to do.
Yes. Absolutely. Um, okay, mine is on which this is going to sound really goofy because I know how I do it now, but how to pick a doctor, a dentist, in my
Yeah.
opinion, in my opinion, good lord, it's not an opinion, it's a fact of life. How to pick an eye doctor. First off, how do you pick them? Second off, when do you need to go? What do you go for? What should you be going for? Like,
Mm-hmm.
all the, like, because I don't know about other people, but you just become an adult. Sometimes you're on your parents' insurance still, sometimes you've gotten your own. Sorting all that out. How health insurance works, that'd be a great thing to know. But just like how, because growing up, like, and our parents had their own processes, I'm sure, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's through friends or research or whatever it may be. You know, your mom's like, you're going to the doctor. You just went to Dr. Joe, and that's who you went to. But he's a pediatrician, and you're now 18.
Yeah.
Guess what? You're no longer pediatrics. Figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
how do
I mean,
you
I
safely
have
pick
I have
those
never
things?
had a general practitioner ever.
Yeah, because I'm like, it's, but it's just one of those things that you're like, again, for me personally, I'm like, when do I even go to the doctor? So I didn't even like do research to find a doctor because I'm like, I'm healthy. It's Tuesday. I'm
Yes.
fine. Why would I go to the doctor? Like,
Well, that's like I had the thought the other day. I haven't been to the OBGYN to have like, just a checkup since my 6 week post op with our second kid. I haven't needed to.
yeah.
So it's like, oh, just kind of forgot about that. Kind of forgot I needed to go. Like all, and it's like
Yeah.
nothing was, you know, there. Nothing. I didn't have any problems. I and time passes so quickly. Like
Yeah.
I have just been trying to keep up with two kids, and now it's if I go to the doctor, they're gonna be like, "Where you been? Living my life. I don't know, buddy. I'm not coming to give you $200 just for you to tell me you can't do nothing for me because nothing's wrong."
Yeah.
And half the time they're like, "This is what's wrong, but we still can't do nothing for you."
Yes.
So I
Yes.
just gave you money to tell me nothing. Thanks.
Yeah. But I'm like, how do you even go about picking those things? Because, like, for me, I needed an eye doctor, was the first thing that, like, I had to have because I was like, I need a new prescription. I have to have contacts. I have to have glasses every day of my life from now until forever, unless I decide to get LASIK. So,
Yeah.
like, and I was like panicked. And when it happened, there was something wrong with my eye, is actually what happened. It wasn't like time for annual stuff. And I didn't live at home or close to home anymore, so I couldn't go to the place I'd always been going. I lived states away at this point, and my eye was like irritated and red, and I'm like, what do I even do?
Yeah.
Legitimately, how did I pick my eye doctor? I picked the one that was open because it was a Saturday. They had great reviews, but I picked the one that
Yeah.
was open because it was a Saturday.
Well, to tell you what I do, I mean, I assume you have some kind of system now, but I always just kind of see who has the best reviews and then look for reviews on multiple different sources. And then sometimes I go to Facebook because I feel like people are a lot more like aggressive on there. Like if somebody has a poor experience, they're gonna voice it a
Yeah.
lot easier on there.
Yeah.
And so like if they're good, I just roll that.
Um, Now that we're settled in the same place and have been for quite some time,
Mm-hmm.
insurance really determined my regular doctor.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really anything to figure out, but like eye doctor and dentist, I literally asked other women whose husbands are also in the military because 90% of us all have the same insurance. And I'm like, who
Right.
takes our insurance? Where do you guys go? And that's what I did. And then I looked up reviews of stuff myself, but like if there was like several good places or several bad places, I just finally asked other people. I was like, where do you go?
One thing that I was kind of nervous about was before we had our first kid, and I was like, oh, wait, they see a pediatrician at the hospital. Do I get that pediatrician to come to the hospital? Who is that? Where does he come from? Does he work at the hospital? Does he work at like a practice? Does he do both? Like I was like I panicked because I was like I didn't know that I had to think of these things,
Mm-hmm.
which is what you're obviously, referencing to. But yeah, they had people that were connected to the hospital and they were like, this is, unless you want to use somebody else, this is who's going to come in here. And most of the time it's like a practice, and they have
Yeah.
X amount of
Like a
doctors and they come.
regular.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things, though. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I do in fact need regular checkups and to make sure nothing's wrong, and or hey, I fell down the stairs and broke my leg. Like now I need to sort this out.
Yeah. Also, like, you really have to find a doctor that you are comfortable with
Yeah,
because, like,
there
when I
are some
had my
quacks
kids,
out
I
there.
would have times to where I'm like, they're not, like, this is happening. Like, oh my God, like, I can't even think of anything, but, just something's happening. I don't know what, I mean, like, okay, one thing is I accidentally ripped out our first kid's umbilical stump when I was changing his diaper. Like I went to pull like his pajamas or something and I accidentally grabbed it and it was like barely hanging on. But I was like, oh, I ripped it off. And they tell you, don't do that.
Yeah,
Everything says, don't touch it, don't do that, keep it clean. It can cause infection. It can, blah 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 blah. Like you just have all these problems that can come from it. And so like that's all I was seeing. And I was like, oh God, do I need to take him to the doctor? Do I need to take him to the emergency room? Do I need to call his doctor? Do I need to call somebody else? Like, what do I do? And then I went up there and I'm like, it's fine. There was like a little bitty spot that it was still just a little bit. He was like, it's like a scab. Like you just essentially pulled off a scab. And I was like, oh well, y'all made me think I was gonna like pull out his whole guts. Like not really them, but like just
yeah,
stuff you look up. It's like don't touch it. And so I was like, okay,
yeah,
I won't. I promise. And then I did the same thing to our second kid on accident. But that time I was like, it looks fine. Like I was a little more in it. I had dealt with these problems a
yeah,
little more, so I wasn't as scared.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's a lot of like common stuff that you really just have to sort out on your own.
But we were
And
so screwed though with our parents' generation because I don't feel like a lot of them had kids because that's what they were supposed to do, and then after we left, they're like, "Have fun on your own. I'm going to do my do. I'm going to live my life now. See you later."
oh,
And so like trying to get help for even if you call them, they're like, "I don't know what you want. You're an adult. You're supposed to know this. You're supposed to know this because you're supposed to teach me." But alrighty then.
Yeah. I don't know. It gets better though. You do figure it out. But it's just
You
things
do.
that you're like, why wouldn't someone have said something? Why did no one teach me how to do this? But you know what? Thank God for the internet at this point in our lives because it'll teach you how to do anything you want, like you said earlier. If you
It
don't know
will.
how, if you don't know where to buy something, if you don't know how to get something, you can literally Google it. There's a million people at your disposal to answer you these days.
I will say one thing that I need the internet to advance on is I need some kind of system become digitalized with books in Barnes and Noble or maybe just big bookstores, period, because the other day I was looking for a book and I didn't necessarily want to ask a person because I didn't want to tell them the title because I was a little like self-conscious about it. Like, are they going to judge me for reading this book? And so I was like, there's got to be a way to know. There's not. Unless you ask somebody, there's really not. And I should be able to Google. You know how on Target you can be like, it's on aisle A11. I should be able to Google which area is this in because
Yes.
it was a murder. It was like a murder mystery, suspenseful romance, and I'm like, what subject? Like, what? Where is this gonna be? Is it gonna be romance? It's gonna be in horror, murder mystery, suspense, and then I gave up.
Yeah. That makes
Which
sense.
I felt stupid because it was actually free on Kindle, and then I read it and I bailed out halfway through because it was a little too much for me. It was a little not my taste. But
Hmm.
anyway, okay. Well, buddy.
Anywho,
Anywho.
um, yeah, so you should write to Barnes and Nobles. Maybe they'll do that. Barnes and Nobles or Books a Million, who can do it first? You'd really put a challenge in between
It's
them
up to you, buddy.
if someone could do it. Um, okay, so this week's poll, I decided to stay on topic to an extent, I guess. Um, which we're gonna do would you rather.
Oh,
Would you rather have to go up to an associate in a store to ask for help,
if
or
you
would
were
you
gonna call me
rather,
out, you could have just said it.
or would you rather have to call on the phone to like order something or make an appointment?
Can I? Am I supposed to answer? I don't remember. Am I supposed to
You
answer?
can.
I'd rather call.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't got to see my face. So if I embarrass myself, I don't actually have to go see them. They don't know who I am.
That's fair. I guess it depends on what it is. If I have to call somewhere and they put me on hold a long time, that's obnoxious. I'd rather just go to the store if I could like handle it that way. Um, or like if I could just like go to an office and make an appointment for something if the lines are weird or whatever, or I'm on hold a lot. Um,
People are just so rude these days. Like whenever you ask for something and they make you feel dumb for asking for it, like that's what gets
yes.
me. It makes me want to
Yes.
crawl into my turtle shell.
I just don't take it personally. I think something's wrong with
I know.
them.
Y'all, whenever I tell you, I have literally given Kayla a list of things I needed for from a store, and she like held my hand and led me around while we followed an associate that she asked for all these things. It really happened. It really happened.
Well, to be fair, the story you're referring to, you refused at first to ask or to let me ask. So you were like, no, it's such a long list. So we literally wandered around the store and we were able to find one or two. And then I was like, dude, I'm not doing this all night. I'll just go ask.
I feel like I don't work at Vitamin Shop or wherever we were. I don't remember.
Yes.
Like I
Yes.
don't
I
work
was
here for a
like,
reason.
I
That
will
store
go
was
ask for
huge though. That
help.
one was like so
Yes.
big.
So much stuff, and they're in alphabetical order, but they were in all these specific categories, and there's just so
Mm-hmm.
much. I was like, no. Again, I need to know this is on aisle 5 to like narrow it down for me. And there's
Yeah.
not. So I was like, we're just going to ask someone because Jimmy, who works here, will know
Yeah.
where all this
It's his
stuff is.
job.
And he did. So,
Oh, I'm gonna do a little one. We don't have to go into a big thing because I know we're like at our time. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to for people like doing their job. Don't be afraid to ask someone to help you find something because that's their job.
Yeah.
Like as a store associate, their job is to help you. Don't get mad when you have to go to a front desk and ask for XYZ. Their job is to do that for you. Don't feel guilty because they will most of the time will make you feel bad for getting them to do that. But that is literally their job and they should not make you feel bad for them having to do it.
Yes.
I struggle with that too to this day. I tell myself that all the time, but I shouldn't have to because we shouldn't be made to feel bad for people literally doing what their job is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Answer Kayla's poll. Just one day she'll get around to handing out a coffee. We gotta get a wheel and do all that stuff still.
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. I will do that when we get done recording. I'll write down the 8 names we had, throw them in a bowl, and I will record me pulling out some of them. And then you'll get a message for your coffees. I am so sorry. Life has been hectic as can be. I literally got the names the other day, and then I haven't had time to do the little thing. So sorry.
It's okay, man. We're still in our early stages where this podcast isn't paying us. We do it for fun. We have other jobs. True. Okay, she has another job. I'm a stay-at-home mother.
Children.
Yes, I have another job.
Yes. So, I will do that. I will DM you guys, the ones that won. There will be a little reel on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, go and look at that.
Like, follow, share.
As always,
5 stars.
Like this episode, rate us 5 stars, leave a review. Follow us on Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. You can go watch us over on YouTube.
Or do all of it.
I was going to say,
all of it, buddy.
If you're feeling, I don't know what feeling I wanted to put out there, but if you're feeling adventurous, or generous, there we go, generous, just hit play on Spotify and just let it run through if that's not normally where you listen to it at. The views are kind of down over there, the listeners. There's also, the poll is always interactive on Spotify as well, because I'm able to attach it on there. So you can answer the poll again over there. But yeah. We love you guys. We appreciate you listening to our chaos and nonsense.
1000%.
Leave a comment of things you wish you knew if you are an adult or becoming an adult or whatever the situation may be.
If you need Kayla to call somebody for you and ask a question or go into a store, just message us. Yeah. She'll probably do it.
I will, honestly. It's not a problem.
Can we get shirts made and yours says confrontational and mine says non-confrontational?
Maybe you should just say maybe yours should just say non, and then we could stand next to each other and it would be non.
That would be so cute. But then whenever we're apart, people would be like, "Hun."
This is true. All right,
okay,
well,
bestie.
I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Love you. Miss you. Bye.
Bye.
Love and miss you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.